abusia entie bi a ba bom secret kase bi abetom ene se Kelvin Taylor abepiem ewo Ghana no bepiem ewo Ghana na busia ensensem bi ekoso ewo behind the scenes na utie eye enchechemu ni rumors ene nsem bi enkofo bi ede atomu abusia na kyese eye Kelvin Taylor a police fo kwa arrest eye Kelvin Taylor den esan se ne nsem ewo court a was a chin on the nea, just and send be anyone. No, and you say Kelvin Taylor, you rian could there, and you didn't be PM or mangan and mu. Utimu say, and someone ever peer your mangan and mukran son or no Kelvin Taylor, or other Bedrigan and Bushia, secret audio be about 12 a police for air bob go more Kelvin Taylor. Ewo an unknown location bia abusia eno de wetie audio na behu ensem wo moka yego gwetie bra e ba ye beto aso edemam.
Information reaching us indicate that Mr. Sansadeli again has been flown into Ghana. You have the video of the house and all that. Okay, he's been flown into Ghana. Now this Sansadeli is the one who brought Miss Sansadeli to Ghana, the fake doctor, who says we shouldn't say she's a criminal. He said we shouldn't say that because no court has said that. She wrote some letters to Metro TV that she's not a criminal or something like that. Okay. Mr. Sansadeli is the one who brought this guy. Now, Sansadeli has been flown into Ghana a while ago. He is reported at the airport when he arrived, and this is what we have been told. We believe, we hope it's not true. We just hope it's not true. He arrived as Kelvin Taylor. He went through gate 19. Gate 19 at the airport is reserved ordinarily for high-profile diplomats. So President Kufuor is abroad now. When President Kufuor is coming back, he'll go through gate 19. If a high-profile state official travels, say the Honorable Mike Hammer, those who are not maybe inside governments, all of those people, they all go through gate 19. That's the gate reserved for high-profile officials. He was met by national security in gross violation. These national security people. And we are getting this information from people. I mean, in gross violation of a court order of a bench warrant. Ministers may or may not be aware. President may or may not be aware. He has arrived in Ghana in gross violation of a court order. The court order was against contempt of court. He spoke certain things in which the court believed was scandalizing the court. Kweku Bako and Haruna Atta went to prison for saying things that the court thought was scandalizing the court. This guy sits in America, scandalizes the court in the name of politics. A bench warrant is issued. His party is in power. So the state security apparatus, sponsored by the taxpayer, goes to pick the guy who has scandalized one of the most important institutions of democracy, the courts, and they bring him in. You have not even heard the worst. The worst is that they send him. He came by United Airlines, according to the story. United Airlines flight UA 996 from Washington D.C. and he came with an entourage. According to the story, he came with he didn't just come. He came with an entourage, and they are up and they are so the people at the airport don't quite see people on the flight who told us. And guess what? The report is that sent him to Prestige Lake. Go and live in the house that is reserved for the vice president of Ghana. This is the same house that John Dramani Mahama lived in as vice president and even as president. When President Mahama was exiting his presidency in 2016, this is the house that he wrote to Nana Akufo-Addo, and Nana Akufo-Addo agreed that President Mahama can have it. Later on, party hawks prevailed on Akufo-Addo by force that President Mahama cannot have it. And so President Mahama had to relocate and find his own place where he has been living until he was re-elected as president. This house is where Aliyu Mahama lived in. It's reserved, it's a cocoa board house that is reserved for the vice president of Ghana. This is the house that has been given to Mr. Sansadeli and his entourage to stay in the official residence of the vice president of Ghana. This guy, who just finished SS2 not because he can't pay but because he can't learn, and sets up a media organization to basically drop down insults on every important Ghanaian. And because he supports and assists the political party, there's no problem with political parties supporting their own. Every political party supports their own. There's no problem.
So after Kelvin Taylor send you be PM Ghana no, but I titira Kelvin Taylor di be PM Ghana no. Pardon much any lawyers edin komo. O ma churchum at the crack Kelvin Taylor abe PM Ghana no ba be say obema e Supreme Court askwashe arrest warrant e wa Ghana had ye penachi na nti o PM Ghana na ayat tatete na wotete no.
Lawyer Preku, join me now. What is Kelvin Taylor asking the Supreme Court to do? So what's the Supreme Court being asked to do?
Okay, so this is an application to invoke the supervisory jurisdiction of the court pursuant to Article 132 to quash the arrest warrants. We call it certiorari. So
to issue to quash?
Yes, the arrest warrants of the High Court. You know, at that time,
why did the High Court issue an arrest warrant against him?
So at that time, this was the case of Republic versus Bafoboni and others, the NCA case, and Kelvin Taylor said on his platform that the judge in the case, that is Justice Chebafo, who is currently at the Court of Appeal, was promoted by the NPP government to do the bidding of the NPP government so that they could prosecute, or he could ensure the prosecution and conviction of Bafoboni and others.
Yeah.
And so this was what came to the notice of the judge, Justice Chebafo, who then issued the arrest warrants for Kelvin Taylor to be brought to answer why he should not be committed to prison. And so this is the warrants issued by the courts for the arrest of Kelvin Taylor, and it was directed to the police, Ghana Police Service, that's the IGP, the police service, the BNI, and the national security that had the responsibility of taking appropriate steps to ensure that.
So if it is found that since this bench warrant, the guy has been in Ghana, all those who participated in it have also committed contempt
of court. Because
and since this arrest warrant was issued, the information that has been in Ghana 3 times. So everyone who participated in it has committed contempt.
Particularly more so when not only was this warrant given, but it was widely publicized. So there was a lot of news, there was a lot of buzz around this issue. And so Kelvin Taylor is claiming in his document that the court should quash. So when we say certiorari is simply asking either the Supreme Court or the High Courts. The High Courts for judicial decisions below, and the Supreme Court for decisions of the High Courts and the Court of Appeal to quash. I want to try and find a simple word. Or to nullify.
To
totally nullify the effect of a decision, judgment, ruling passed by the lower courts. And there are only 2 courts that have this power: the High Courts and the Supreme Courts.
Okay. So his application is going to the Supreme Court because the warrant was issued by a High Court.
A High Court, yes.
Okay.
It was issued by a Court of Appeal judge sitting as an additional High Court judge. So in that moment, he was vested in in himself the powers of a High Court judge.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's essentially a High Court.
So what is he
decision.
asking for now?
So he's asking for these 3 things, right? The grounds of his application are that that the High Court was in breach of the rule of natural justice, to wit, all the alteram partem. Now, what he is saying is that before the arrest warrant was issued, the court should have called him to hear what he had to say before the arrest warrant is issued for him to be arrested and brought to court. For this, there are 2 arguments. One side may argue that, well, the point of the arrest warrant is to procure your attendance, to bring you to court, and then you would justify why you should not be committed. Because an arrest warrant is not a judgment in and of itself. It is not a ruling. It is just to procure your attendance to court by force. Now, the other side would also argue that, well, in any case, when it comes to issues of contempt, the court normally would issue a summons for you first. And then when the court issues the summons, you answer. When you fail to adhere to the summons, then the court issues the arrest warrant. So a classic example is Samia Oku in the 2012 election petition, which was heard in 2013, where the court became aware of these things and then invited him. So the power of contempt of courts can be exercised in 2 forms. One,
there was also Ken Kranche, wasn't there?
Oh yes, there's Ken Kranche, and then the Munti 3. So it happens. So it may be ex officio curie, which is out of the presence of the court, and in facie courier. In facie courier means it's in the court's presence. So maybe you insult the judge in court, so you throw your hands at a judge in a disrespectful manner, and then ex facie courier is out of court. So something like this, which happened out of court. And then B, the High Court's warrant of apprehension of the body of the applicant was not made in accordance with any procedure sanctioned by law. Yes, and that was what we were saying, that there is no strictly laid down procedure for this. That is one side. The other side may argue that yes, that's the whole point of contempt. There is no specifically laid down procedure, but that does not mean that people should be given the liberty to scandalize the court. And that is why, even when there was no laid down procedure, it was exercised in Samia Oku Kenkranchi Munti 3. And then 3, the High Court committed an error of law when by its order directed the applicant to be first apprehended before being heard when there was no previous order for the applicant to appear to the High Court. This is repetitive of the first, which was we discussed initially.
So he's asking the Supreme Court to do what? To quash the arrest warrant.
The arrest warrants, which we showed earlier.
So that he doesn't have any question to answer to Cheba for.
Yes.
He doesn't have anything to answer for scandalizing the court.
Scandalizing the court. So
and that he's a free man to walk around.
It may be, you may subsequently summon him, but I mean, that decision is done. So once the arrest warrant is squashed, he's already a free man, but he's legally a free man after the arrest warrant is squashed. But there is something interesting I noticed on the face of the affidavit and then everything. That's the affidavits in support of the motion. So when we say affidavits, an affidavit is simply a document. Many people, our viewers say affidavits, they don't know. When an affidavit is simply a document that you swear to a set of facts. So for instance, I will swear, Kwekwa Prekwe Japan was in Metro on this date at this time.
And Hassan Ayariga was there.
And Hassan Ayariga was there in the studio. So that is what we call an affidavit. Now you notice that an affidavit is supposed to be sworn before a commissioner of oath, a notary public who is a lawyer that can operate as a commissioner of oath. It may also be sworn before a judge and other judicial officers, pursuant to the Oaths Act. You notice here that sworn at Accra this 2nd day of July 2025. Before
so that on 2nd day of July he was in Accra.
Exactly.
In violation
of the arrest warrant. Now, the position of the law is that any and every order of the court, ruling, judicial decision, judgment, is in effect, even if you have a problem with it, till it is set aside. So, till even if you believe the arrest warrant was false,
so that it subsists, as they say, until it is set aside. So, this act of swearing in Accra itself is in violation of the court order.
Yes, because it's presumed that you are in Accra before.
And as soon as you got to Accra, you should have been sent to the court.
You should have been sent to
by
the court.
The people who found you in Accra.
Yes, because the arrest warrants, if you notice the bench warrants, the arrest warrants, it exists ad infinitum. It was not a specific period of time. It is, and so elapse the day the said Kelvin Taylor expires from the surface of the earth.
So it's there until for the period that Kelvin Taylor is alive, this arrest warrant is there.
Exists.
So when he swore, the swearing that he did before and notary public, all of that, all of those people who participated have committed contempt.
Oh, that would be a bit of a stretch.
But at least he has violated.
He has, yes.
So he's appearing before the Supreme Court, having already violated.
They may ask. I mean, if they are at liberty to ask those questions, that the court may ask the question that but on the judgment, the order is the arrest warrant is subsisting. So why have you sworn your affidavit?
What date is this being heard?
So it's 2nd July.
So this is being given by the Chief Justice.
So every time a motion, can we go back to the motion, please?
Yeah.
Every time a motion is filed, back to the motion. Every time a motion is filed, on the surface of the motion, a date is given. A date is given for hearing.
Okay.
So
the Chief Justice is going to empanel people to hear this.
Yes.
And this is a matter. Is it a matter in equity? Is it a matter in law? Is it a matter of legal philosophy? Is it protecting the courts? What's going to be the deciding factor in the minds of the judges?
All of them, because the ambit of a certiorari is governed by law in the sense that things like breach of audio alterant part, which what they are claiming, that's natural justice. Listen, here the other side, breach of procedural procedures, a breach of error on the face of the record. But in order to arrive at this decision, the courts may be incensed to make certain decisions based on equitable principles. So it's been based on the equity. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. All these things. It's a potpourri of all these principles.
Were to rule in his favor, would it mean therefore that this guy who sits in Amsterdam is called Mr. Happiness? Happiness is in Amsterdam. Can set up and scandalize the courts today. If the court was ruling Kelvin Taylor, we can say, oh, the Supreme Court is this, Bafuboni is that, and Justice Kulendi is this, and then a bench warrant is issued. And then he remains in Amsterdam. His party comes to power.